But I just heard in the news update taking up the case in the Arizona State Supreme Court on the abortion issue. I am unapologetically pro-life. I believe that life begins at conception. I believe that a baby in the womb deserves the same constitutional protection that it does outside of the womb. As far as trying to control a woman's body, anybody that knows me knows that would never be a part of what I wanted to do. As far as I'm concerned, if it's your body, tattoo it, pierce it, cut it off. I don't care what you do. You have a right to do whatever you want with your body. But I believe it's a human being. That's my firmly held belief. And I want that just to be understanding. But what I don't understand sometimes is the way people on my side of the aisle argue about things. And here's what I mean. The pro-life movement has argued for decades that because of advances in medicine, that babies are viable, that pregnancies are viable at early and earlier ages, which means because of science, laws should be changed. In the old archaic laws, that a viable pregnancy is much sooner. And so therefore, we should then treat that like a life much sooner in a woman's pregnancy, which I don't think is a bad argument. I think it's actually a great argument, a viable argument for a viable pregnancy. But then you can't go back and say we're better off as a state with a law that goes back to before we were a state. That, to me, is what the confusing part of this is. And the other thing I'll say on the topic before I move on, as I'm sure I'm making people angry, the other part of it is this. If there is a law in Arizona, and let's say the 15-week is the compromise, 15 weeks is the compromise Arizona comes to, that isn't the end of the road for the pro-life crowd. We have the Choices Pregnancy Centers, which counsel and assist couples and young women that find themselves in a difficult situation with carrying a baby to term and helping them with adoption and helping them with what they need if they're going to keep the child, to have what they need for the first, months or year of the child's life. And if you're somebody that's pro-life, then you still preach the message of pro-life. It's not going to change my belief because a law says this or that it's a person. And so it just makes my work different. It just makes my opinion different. It is convincing people instead of blocking people. That's the difference. It means you have to work harder at it. I'm not advocating for abortion to stay legal. I'm saying that if it does remain that way, that we live in a society with a government where the people, through a representative republic, make decisions. And if it goes to the people and the people disagree, and the more of the people disagree with us, we're in the minority, then you have to adjust to the situation as it stands. I'm not going to change my opinion. I'm not going to change the fact that I believe it's a life. And I'm not going to let the law, one way or the other, get in my way of my opinion. And if somebody asks my opinion, trying to give mine to them in a civil way that convinces them that at least I have a respectable point of view. I think that's important. I just absolutely think that's important. So I wanted to get that out there because that's a big story in Arizona today. So I wanted to just kind of put that out there for people.
Thanks for watching the Mike Broomhead Show. Tap to watch the first season of Amazing Arizonans, a KTAR News podcast. You can also click the button in the middle to subscribe.